Good morning. Welcome. I'm Reverend Addae Kraba, minister of Unitarian Universalist congregation of New Braunfels. We are a welcoming, progressive community who come from a wide range of religious and socioeconomic backgrounds. We seek to share a journey of spiritual growth together while respecting the individual's right to freedom of belief. For you who yearn for deepening more than escape and are not afraid to grow in spirit, wherever you are on your life's journey, you are welcome here. To you at home, we welcome you in our virtual space and hope that you will join us in our church building soon. In the light of this flame, we come now all together out of the darkness of our unknowing, seeking the clear light of understanding. May the sparks of our joining kindle our resolve, brighten our spirits, and reflect our love. Let us come into the circle and place our hopes, dreams, joys, and sorrows on the altar of humanity. So as the body is one with many parts, so are we individually bringing gifts according to the grace given. Prophecy in proportion to ministry, the exhorter in exhortation, the giver in generosity, the leader in diligence, the compassionate in cheerfulness. Let us come together as the breathing of the world. Our reading today was written by Reverend Kristen Harper. It's titled Each Day. Each day provides us with an opportunity to love again, to hurt again, to embrace joy, to experience unease, to discover the tragic. Each day provides us with the opportunity to live. This day is no different. This hour, no more unique than the last, except maybe today, maybe now, among friends and fellow journeyers, maybe for the first time, maybe silently, we can share ourselves. Here ends the reading. The message today, hard work is hard work. As mind-oriented beings, it's easy to get caught up in thinking our way through life. Yes, the mind is necessary, but when we are mind-dominated, the heart is closed. Awakening the spiritual heart is the main point of spiritual growth and expanding consciousness. For the majority of us, it's the first possibility to experience what love is and not just talk about it. It is not a coincidence that throughout history, many cultures and spiritual practices have emphasized the importance of following our heart, listening to our heart, and gaining wisdom and intelligence from our heart. Early Christian mystics spoke of lowering the mind to the heart, which is a simple practice to begin thinking from your heart and loving from your mind. Heart is a metaphor for the things that we care about, that are meaningful or significant to us. They're the things that we are attached to or invested in, and therefore our desires are stirred and we become motivated and moved to act. Much of what we encounter in our daily lives has the potential to awaken feelings of nervousness within or makes us question whether we are truly in control of our lives. But when a space of peace is established within, we empower ourselves to act rather than react in distressing situations. This space within is the center of our being. And when we return to our center, it's through stillness within that creates the balance to respond effectively to the turmoil outside. Now, it's not to suggest that we will no longer have problems, because they are part of the human experience. But you will find that approaching life's challenges through the heart center is an easier, less stressful process than when it's through fear and trepidation. Spiritual awakening is so much more than being religious, because religion itself can create division among people and is often an impediment to spiritual growth. Spiritual awakening has been taught by Buddha, Jesus, prophets, and philosophers throughout the ages. It simply means that you have been enlightened into understanding the need for compassion, humility, and love towards everything, anything, and everyone. With this comes the spiritual understanding that embraces all faiths and cultures with differences. We may be able to achieve many positive accomplishments in our lives, improve our self-esteem, and decrease our emotional reactivity, but sometimes we find that we lack a certain level of completeness. That lack cannot be fulfilled through our attempts to develop a healthier mind. The feeling of wholeness or completeness can only be found through our heart, the ever-present doorway to feel profound peace, gratitude, joy, and unconditional love. Taoist philosophy tells us that spiritual awakening will not happen until a person understands that their existence goes beyond the confines of what is known as the acquired mind, or the ego. We are a self-preserving species, and the ego works hard to help us resist change. Think of it this way. Our spirit coexists with our ego. Through the years of learning and interacting, the ego adopts things that we like and things that we don't like, as well as convictions that separate what's good and what's evil. All of these factors will vary in particularity depending on culture and familial undergirding. However, contrary to popular belief, one doesn't just wake up one day as an enlightened being. You don't emerge from sleep one day feeling this energy coursing through your body. Hard work is hard work because there is no straight path to spiritual awakening. It's full of twists and turns, ups and downs. There's a deep-seated socialization and conditioning that must be unearthed, because through years or even a lifetime of neglect, we've allowed the spark of our divinity within to be covered over and hidden from view, which makes going through a spiritual awakening one of the most confusing, lonely times in our life. Sometimes people experience spiritual awakenings as a slow learning process. No bright lights, no sudden transformation, just a slow, winding, sporadic process of growth. This type of spiritual awakening usually doesn't happen by accident. Someone usually leans into their spiritual hunger intentionally by connecting with a spiritual group of some sort. It might be a church, a synagogue, a yoga class, a recovery group, a Bible study, a seminar, a book study, a spiritual retreat, a spiritual mentor, or a college class. But you lean into a growth process with other people. Over a period of time, you'll be able to look back and see that you have grown and developed spiritually. Many people have had mystical or paranormal experiences. These experiences can awaken us to something transcendent and greater than our small selves. Through proper discerning and interpreting, they can lead to spiritual growth and transformation. However, many people who have mystical experiences are reluctant to share them for fear of being labeled as emotionally or mentally unstable. Marriage, career, faith, and community are major pillars that we build our lives on. And when these are shattered through illness or some other tragedy, it can cause a deconstruction of both faith and life. These are times when people begin to question what they believe, or if they believe anything at all. To paraphrase Thomas Paine, these are the times that try our souls. However, people can rebound from these dark days, months, sometimes years that can lead to seasons of spiritual growth and transformation. Because an encounter with darkness can awaken us to something transcendent. Both the Judeo-Christian tradition and Buddhist tradition cite cravings for more of everything as the cause of distorting the true meaning of life, and true spiritual awakening can only occur when we are liberated from these cravings. Therein lies the stumbling blocks to awakening the spiritual heart in the consumerist society that we live in. However, the unsettling and equally beautiful thing about spiritual awakenings is that they occur at the least expected times. There's no way you can plan for them because they lurch into life and, like tornadoes, shake up everything. My call to ministry turned my world upside down, leading me on a totally different journey that I'm now 20 plus years into. An encounter with emptiness can awaken us to something transcendent and greater than us. But before we can know and apply the metaphysical aspects of mind and matter, we must begin to open the gateway to spirit, to experience personal guidance, heart intelligence, inner peace, and well-being. But the gifts that's buried deep within them is that they occur at the precise time that we need them the most. Even though we may say we are awakening the heart, what we are really doing is reawakening our memory of it. Because essentially, the spiritual heart is always awake and ready to light our path to enlightenment. Our spiritual heart is the bridge between our soul's message and the mind. The mind receives the message and creates the action, which moves the matter. Our actions, our thoughts, and emotions move the matter primarily governed by our hearts and our spirits. Therefore, we can consider the spiritual heart the decision maker. Nothing happens to us, things happen for us. Ultimately, every experience and everyone brings us an opportunity for our spiritual growth. Spiritual teacher Sri Chamoy advises that the spiritual heart is our inner treasure because there is a vast difference between what we can get from the limited mind and what we can get from the unlimited heart. And the heart speaks a language that the intellectual mind doesn't understand. However, together the two enjoy the qualities of the Spirit. And if we desire to, we can learn this language and receive the joy that an awakened heart will bring. The more you love, the more love you give to others, the more you will be filled with love. Some years ago, a study was done at Kassel University in Germany, measuring the light being emitted from a person's chest area. What they found was that the light increased 5,000-fold when the subject intentionally meditated on sending healing love to a specific person. Love expands, and our spiritual journey is one of expansion, one of falling in love with everyone and everything, and ultimately seeing divinity in everything. When we practice living from the heart, every activity is infused with conscious intent, and all of our interactions are done with compassion that becomes part of a spiritual partnership. Isn't that what we covenant to do here at UUNB? To practice with good intent? We're here to grow our souls together. And if we trust our feelings and act upon them to put us in communication with the heart, it's not difficult. We are linked to one another in more ways than we can imagine. And the spiritual heart is a gateway that brings the spiritual into the physical experience. Although we may have profound differences, we share a common bond as members of the human tribe. It's not only with a compassionate heart that we make the choice to quiet our minds and open our hearts to look past the outward appearance of race, sex, religion, politics, and economic status. Ask your heart for guidance when making choices and when negative thoughts arise. And if you can, you'll be able to shift your attention to something beautiful by making love the foundation of our thoughts, words, and actions. Compassion is what makes our lives meaningful. It is the foundation of the heart of one who acts out of the desire to help others. It's the sometimes fatal capacity for feeling what it's like inside another's skin. When we awaken the heart, the boundaries between self and others diminish. And through service, appreciation, and love for one another, we awaken realization. As conscious participants in the cycle of giving and receiving, we share our light with others as we become enlivened ourselves, with our heart leading the way. However, life is not all light and blessings. There will be days and feelings of loss and loneliness. But if we're truly open to journeying the path to a greater awakening, we'll learn to face our shadows because we'll want to find out where they came from. We all have shadow sides because no one is perfect. Repressed emotions, doubts, and fears distort or block the flow of pure love. The unwillingness or inability to forgive is another reason the spiritual heart is hidden. Forgiveness frees us to love fully in the future. Without forgiveness, we feed the other person with our energy, and if we don't forgive, we are the ones who suffer. It can be challenging because when we are hurt from pain inflicted by another, it's difficult to separate the person from the act. However, perhaps we can't always forgive what was done, but we may be able to forgive the person who did it. Yes, hard work is hard work. But I believe it is best to lean into these experiences of spiritual awakening and treat them as a treasure to be explored and nurtured. Because we are all on various paths at different points, and we can find our way together. From my heart to yours, may it be so. May creativity and persistence lead to finding resources to share. May those who are struggling find meaning and companionship. May those who are injured or ill find recovery. May those who hunger find abundance. May those who are weary find comfort. May those who migrate find safety. Celebrate what joy can be found. Hold it close. Do not take it for granted. Give thanks for companions on the journey. May it be so. We extinguish this flame, but not the light that dwells within. May that spark of divinity continues to shine. As you leave today, blessed be the path on which you travel and the body that carries you upon it. Blessed be your clarity of mind that discerns the way, and your heart that has heard the call. Truly blessed is the gift that you will become on the journey. May it be so.